Hey America, do you like to be entertained? Do you like to read boring things? Then have I got the thing for you. Alright, check it out. I'm going to do a little writer's blog. Since I got a blog about everything else. God, anyways. Writer's blog. I am an amateur author. I've written several novels over the past few years. I am going to write a new one now. If you are interested, you can check it out. You can go to my page, my MySpace page, or even my Yahoo Groups page. For Yahoo Groups, it's Sky-Writing. It may not turn up in a search. The Yahoo Groups doesn't always do the work. So go to my MySpace page, www.myspace.com/skyanimal, SKYANIMAL. Basically the same tag, that you're viewing my stuff under. I'm writing a novel about a group of boys who go to another world, through magic, and so they're able to go back and forth. And they go to this world and they become mercenaries, sword and shield mercenary guys. Trained to guard, trained to fight, trained to kill. Basically, they're in high school, and so on the weekends and on breaks, they go to this other planet and kick butt and drink, chase women, go crazy nuts. I'm going to make it realistic. I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to make it interesting. I don't really like doing full-on sex, but I'll get sexual material, to hype it up. I mean, if there's a reason for it, yeah. But pretty great graphic, descriptive battles too. So and I'm going to try to make sure I can include graphs and pictures of stuff. So that way, when you read it and you're like, I don't know, I like having a map when I write stuff, especially when I'm reading stuff, because I just like seeing where the road is, like seeing how they're connected, how these guys are doing whatever. I like numbers in a way, kind of my weird thing. So if you read my stuff, yeah, I do numbers. I get into the all right, well, how much food do they have? How many days do they go? How large is the army? Sort of thing. So anyways, if you are interested, check it out, and I'd be much obliged. And think of it this way: you're reading a guy who's writing stuff. These are my rough drafts, which I'm going to be posting on my Yahoo Groups page, and I'll do some video blogs here and there, maybe, and kind of document how I'm writing, what I'm thinking about when I'm writing, or what I'm kind of going towards. I'm just really, this is a whole new process I'm attempting right now. So I've just written the prologue, written chapters 1, 2, and in the middle of 3. What I've done so far, in my opinion, is I've established the location they go to, how they get there. I've established the social-political environment, the level of technology of the people. Not quite, but it's pretty close. But definitely the level of civility and organization of the world that they're involved in. And all through just contextual conversation samples. So that's the thing I've always been kind of like, well, how do you describe stuff? How do you get this information about just where these people live and what's going on in their lives, what their motivations are, because you don't really want to write about in their heads. So you want conversations, and you want just normal conversations. It has to be in character, too. So if you have a guy who's talking a lot, why does this guy talk a lot? What purpose, and what does this guy talk about? So I've established that with one character he's gonna talk about the environment, and about the environment they're in, but he's got an axe to grind, so it's understood there. And then I got the 3 main characters who are just kind of they're facets of me in a way. So there's the gutsy leadership guy, the brainy inquisitive guy, and the brawn kind of shy guy. So I'm gonna so basically split me into the 3 main characters. So, and I'm hopefully giving each of them enough of a voice, and it's understood what is their frame of mind. Because the other thing is that I'm trying really hard to write it in such a way that I'm not being I'm not conveying emotions. I'm not conveying what the people are feeling. It's more like a visual experience of what you're getting. And because a friend of mine said that's what she dug about what my writing was, that she's reading a chapter and halfway through it she's no longer reading it, she's imagining it in her mind. And I think the reason why that happens, the way it works, is that the way I picture the story is like a movie in my mind. So it's kind of like, my pen is following the action. So I hope that's the draw. That's why I'm making this advertisement for my own work. Is if you read my stuff, it's like that. You're gonna, if you can get into it. And I need feedback too. I want to know if anybody else gets this way. Um, if you think that it's good, if you have questions or if you'd like to challenge me on it, if you're don't no trolls, please. I mean, if you seriously like want to criticize somebody's work and be like really get into it, because that's what I do with other writers too. If they, when they say, oh, I'm writing something, like, oh, well, let me check it out, and they send it to me, and I'm just like, no, what is, this is borderline garbage, man, And if I tell them honestly, I say, look, man, this is how you make it better, all right? You have to, you're talking about this, you're talking about that. You're not explaining anything. You're not, you're setting up a question, but it's like a big brick wall that, the reader is going to come right into, and it's like, you don't want that. You want it to be a path that the reader feels like, okay, I understand, everything's being explained to me now. And it's like, it's subtle details, too. That's the thing, and so that's why it's kind of like a camera. It's like you use the how do camera makers or filmmakers do it? They say, well, you got to tell the story through the lens. You have to all you have is the lens to just tell you everything about the environment. Unless you have a narrative, and that's why a lot of movies, in a lot of places, they prefer narrative. But if you don't have narrative, you have to use the setting. You have to use, what the camera can see of the setting. So in a way, that's kind of how I'm interpreting and how I'm writing. Is, what am I seeing? What is my character seeing? What is the view of whatever scene? Because, so I'm trying to get it out of the guy's view, like where the camera lens is right over the person's eyeball, kind of, view. And I try to have it a bit more like, well, it's more centralized, more focused, but there's going to be like a main person you're following around. So that's the action you follow around. And that's going to be interesting for a later aspect, an idea of how I'm going, oh, yeah, I'm glad I'm thinking about this. Because there is going to be a little bit of magic employed later on. I really don't like magic in my fantasy literature. And it's kind of like with the Force and Jedi powers and stuff. It's like, I much rather have physical, things that are understandable, things that have limits and powers and rules, basically. Because magic is always like, oh, they had this, or they countered, and it's like, less magic the better, and that's what I prefer. My stuff is just more guys who are banding together, arming up, and just taking the weapon to each other. So if you like Dynasty Warriors, it's kind of my stuff, and I'm not repetitive in my battle scenes either. It's like every battle, I guarantee you, is will be somewhat original, but it's like you can only have so many. Oh, well, they met on the field and they fought, okay, but they're going to be original. The combat, I'm going to try to write it like choreograph it perfectly on how the fighting would look like. And people they do die, okay. So the guy will kill people, and I just may throw in you may get first person or like one of the main characters will die too. So so I kind of see it, because I want to be realistic too. Just as freaking realistic as I can be. So there's gonna be some language, but enough language that you can swallow. You could say, it's not gonna be like F you, F this, F that. No. Very, very light language. And it's only proper term use, and that is to embellish a certain idea or concept to really express anger and and emotion. So that's that's the point of foul language, how you should use it. Because the other thing is that I'm trying to make the conversations realistic and logical and reasonable and real. So people normally are going to use foul language, and I could totally. Something else is that, and this is like the guy who did Deadwood was talking about, the creator of Deadwood. He said that when he originally wrote out the script and was looking at some of the what was considered profanity of the time, he said it would have sounded like Yosemite Sam, the cartoon guy with the big red mustache.